All right, great to have everyone. Hello, welcome to MeteoMark's Weather. Reporting to you from my vacation here. We are looking at a area of big development here. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this area here into the western Atlantic. So we're not going to waste any more time here. This is our tropical wave we're going to be watching over the next several days. You can see it east of the Lesser Antilles as we head into the next couple days. Here's the 31st. Wednesday, big tropical wave moving around the southern periphery of our big old Bermuda high here. So this is something we're going to watch as we head into the weekend, into early next week. I think this has a very good chance of development. It's going to provide Puerto Rico, the northern Lesser Antilles, Virgin Islands, over to the Dominican Republic as we head into August 1st here, Thursday into Friday here, moving towards the Bahamas. So here is our area of concern. The models do diverge once they get here into the central Bahamas, and I'm going to show you the GFS momentarily, but here is our European model, which has been most consistent with this system. And as we continue towards August 3rd into the 4th, you can see, the European showing a pretty sizable system here, starting to slow down across the Bahamas. As we continue here towards August 4th, you can see European has kind of weakened this a little bit, so we're still dealing with some kind of system. The European model is indicating high pressure just retreating ever so slightly to the east, which is going to help, at least on the European model, try to steer the system towards the north. It is going to be interesting to see how this frontal boundary up here interacts with this system. So we have a lot of days here left to watch this. It's going to be all coming down to steering currents, so everybody along the East Coast, Florida, and even the Gulf of Mexico should be watching the system very intently. Bahamas, the Caribbean islands, please stay tuned. Even if you're as far south as Jamaica, even here in Cancun, please keep an eye on this system because a lot can happen between now and early next week. This is August 5th. You can see, look what's happening. The European model showing the tropical moisture associated with this system moving right up the East Coast, getting entrained into an East Coast trough here. And look at that stream of moisture. You can see European model trying to close off this area of low pressure here just off the coast of South Carolina. And that's going to continue to trail our moisture north and east according to the European model, tail end of this frontal boundary. And look how agonizingly slow this area of low pressure moves. Potentially a tropical storm, maybe even a hurricane. It's too early to say that. We'll keep very close watch on this system as it moves according to the European model, up the U.S. East Coast here. And look at the intertropical converted zone here, August 8th. It's just ramping up really readily. And we will also take a look at the dust momentarily to see if that's going to be a major factor. But there it is, European model showing more of an East Coast run. Now, let's take a look at the GFS. So flipping over to our GFS model, you can see our system out here as we continue in time. It's moving towards the northwest here, towards the Lesser Antilles, showing up pretty weak here on the GFS model. But here it is flaring up once again, August 2nd. Things are a little confusing here on the GFS because it almost looks like we have two pieces of separate energy here. One over the island of Hispaniola and one northeast of Puerto Rico. And it's going to be hard to differentiate this because here we go. This is on August 3rd. We have energy here north between Cayman Islands and Jamaica, and then northeast of the Dominican Republic. So really, which is which here? I don't think it matters at this point. It does from a forecasting standpoint because we definitely have two pieces of separate energy that we were not seeing on the European model. And if we take a look at the high pressure positioning, it is much further to the east than the European model. So here we go. Two areas of concern continue as we head through the weekend here, August 3rd. And here it is. This is really interesting because look we have an area of disturbed weather off the Outer Banks, one in the eastern Gulf, and then out here into the eastern Bahamas near the Turks and Caicos. This is going to get pretty active here, and any one of these could develop. Now, it is interesting that the European model is not bending the system towards the eastern Gulf. Here is that piece of energy behind it, and then that area of disturbed weather on the tail end of this frontal boundary near the Outer Banks. So here it is. This goes to show you this is anybody's game from the Gulf, Florida, and up the East Coast. Please stay tuned because things could get very interesting here. Bahamas, these two areas of energy could really start to develop here, especially with these higher sea surface temperatures. And the GFS showing this developing into a hurricane in the north central Gulf, and our next wave here behind it in the Bahamas moving towards Florida and Georgia as a weak wave. Now, we're showing here, I caution you because this is 246 hours out, a landfalling hurricane just north of Corpus Christi heading inland towards San Antonio. I'm going to keep a close watch on that, but like I said, this is out to August 9th. The margin of error is huge. Now look at this. This next system behind it crosses over into the Eastern Gulf. And I'm not going to go that much further out here because you can see we're getting towards 300. We're beyond 300 hours here. So the margin of error is so great, it's not even worth looking. Thanks to Tropical Tidbits for our mid-layer dry air analysis. You can see here with GFS, and then I'll show you the European model. Here's the intertropical convergence zone, the MDR looking really healthy. The dust is slowly retreating towards the northeast here. Getting lighter, so it allows our tropical wave action here to thrive across the northern Caribbean islands. You can see it pinwheeling right around this area of high pressure. Now, we do start to see some light dust moving in. This is right around Sunday, August 4th. So it's not as heavy as it was, but it'll still preclude a lot of development. Now, we do have a tropical wave moving through Trinidad, Tobago. This is right around August 6th. I don't want to forget about you guys here in the southern Caribbean. And another low trying to initiate itself here southwest of the Cape Verde Islands. Big area of dust moving in, but you can see where our area of interest is. Southeast coast to Gulf. Keeping very close watch. That's ominous here in the western Gulf. A 984 millibar hurricane heading towards Texas, and another system potentially locked up here over Florida towards August 8th. But look at this. We do have some areas of dry air in the mid layers here. So maybe that will keep a lid at least through the first and second week of August behind our couple minor systems here, eventually turning to moderate and potentially major. So keeping close watch. But here it is. The dust is out here, it's active, but it's not as heavy as it was. So flipping over to the European model here, thanks to Tropical Tidbits, you can see there's our systems moving through the northern Caribbean islands. Intertropical convergence zone continuing to head westward here. Dust is a little bit further to the north here, but still looking kind of strong. You can see some of these circulations in this dust right around our area of high pressure. But here it is on the Euro. Euro showing this low, kind of going over Florida with tropical moisture aimed at the East Coast. We're not seeing two separate tropical systems here like we were on the GFS. Shows it riding up the U.S. East Coast, but look at this. A lot of dry air at mid-layers. This may preclude additional development here along the East Coast. We'll have to keep a close watch. If it can stay out here over the open waters, it has a much greater chance. Here is that big area of dust. European model going a little bit more optimistic as we head out in time towards August 9th here. You can see the Eastern Caribbean. Lots of dust. This is going to help you, at least protect you in the short term here with the tropical waves. And here it is, the Gulf getting much more drier. Quite a bit different than the GFS. All right, the Caribbean rainfall amounts here. Yeah, look at this. So Jamaica up to the Cayman Islands. Over the next 2 weeks, you're looking, roughly about 40 to 70 millimeters here. It's not a lot of rain, but it's enough to, cool you down on some of these days. So some of these days coming up, particularly as we get towards, say, the weekend into early next week. Now, Central America, that's where you're seeing that massive surge from Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize here, all the way down to Costa Rica. You're going to be seeing 100, 150 in some of these areas. That's going to equate to about 3 to as much as 6 inches of rain. All right, Eastern Caribbean here through the Bahamas. That is where we're looking at our potential system here. Look at that. Yeah, it's going to be providing the northern Lesser Antilles, northern Caribbean islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic with some rainfall as well. Watch out for 40 to 80 millimeters, maybe locally higher. That's going to equate to about 3/4 to 1.5, close to 2.5 inches in some of these areas. Bahamas, this is where it starts to slow down. 100 to as much as 150 millimeters, going to get on the order of 4 to as much as 6 or 7 inches. So for the Eastern Pacific here, we have a lot of areas. Eastern Pacific is really going to begin to heat up here with development. As we head in time here, looking at our European model, these are basically going to be fish storms. That is the good news. We do see 3 distinct areas here, and we'll keep an eye on it. None of these look like they're going to impact any land, mainly just a problem for shipping. And this one will parallel, it looks like, the Baja of California here, but it heads out into cooler water. And then we have a potential for another hurricane forming behind that. But like I said, the great news here, they're staying away from the Mexican coastline here. Now, as we head out into the Western Pacific, the Philippines has just been getting inundated with rain. The good news over the next couple days, it looks like that starts to calm down a bit here. You can see but we're going to really start ramping up again towards the weekend here. We see a surge of tropical moisture continuing. And as we head towards August 5th here, we really start to see that moisture surge here across the Philippines, and also moisture coming in the east here. Now, if you look out in the intertropical convergence zone, you really don't see a whole lot of activity here. So that is something we're going to have to keep close watch, because then by the end of the forecast period here towards August 8th, there is a curious area out here trying to hold on. So we'll have to see if this low can close off, because Japan, your typhoon season is literally just right around the corner, and you can get landfalling storms definitely this early. Severe weather outlook here for portions of the plains. Basically this afternoon and this evening. On Tuesday, you can see the severe weather. There's going to be mesoscale convective complexes in this enhanced area of the eastern north central plains, heading all the way down into portions of Tennessee, South Carolina, of Atlanta. Watch out. And some gully washers over here, maybe a few isolated severe into the northeast. And as we head on into your Wednesday, the midpoint of the week, severe storms here across the central and northern plains, even some strong storms here into parts of the Ohio River Valley. So marginal risk. Damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornadoes. And then as we head on into Thursday, you can see we're pivoting towards the Ohio River Valley, all the way down to the Carolinas. This area is a marginal risk, and then there's our best chance here. Severe, slight risk here. Wouldn't be surprised if we expand this a little bit further to the east. All right, so as we get into our HRRR future radar here, yeah, we've got a number of problems later this afternoon and evening. We are going to be looking, let's just back this up just a little bit. So as we head towards 3 and 4 p.m., you can see where the thunder showers are. Of course, Florida here with the tropical moisture just hanging out across the eastern Gulf and the Bahamas. Up through the Appalachians here, we have a mesoscale convective complex taking shape out here as well. In eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, you could have some gully washers up here. Threat of heavy rain exists, but most of you definitely desperately need the rain. And look at by 7 p.m., we have 2 complexes, actually 3 complexes of storms here. One across the Carolinas, one across southern Illinois here, and one across central Pennsylvania. Some of these storms could get a little on the strong side towards 8 p.m., heading towards, say, the I-81 corridor here. They do weaken as they head to the east. This complex, watch out Kentucky and Tennessee. Later this evening and tonight, we could be looking at a mesoscale convective complex here. So please stay tuned. Things could get quite active. And as we continue, let's just zoom out here a bit. You can see the storms with the daytime heating fizzling out, and still some scattered showers and thunderstorms towards 5 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And then look at this. We're just going to continue to line up these mesoscale convective complexes, and then they head towards the Carolinas. This is towards 8 a.m. We could be looking at another stormy day into parts of upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania, parts of New England, and that just continues with this upper-level low-style system in this trailing cold front. Southern Georgia getting some gully washers here, and look at the severe weather ramping up here across the northern plains as we get towards 7 p.m. on Wednesday. This is just going to continue as we head out here in time. You can see these MCSs here moving east and southeast here towards eastern Tennessee and Kentucky. And here we go, Joe Dreyhouse from the other evening, a nice orange sunset. You can see it here through the trees, looking really nice across the area. So we've seen a lot of orange sunsets. You know what that is? That also has to do with some of that dust from the California wildfires along with the Canadian wildfires. So that helping to create some orange-ish sunsets here. Really nice. Hopefully this doesn't propagate towards the ground and affect our air quality, but it is providing with some very beautiful sunsets. Nice capture, Joe Dreyhouse from Johnson City, New York. So if we take a look at precipitation amounts here, look at this. So the Ohio Valley, lower Great Lakes, Midwest, that's where you're going to see a lion's share of the rain over the next couple days. You definitely need it as we get into next week. Look at that system potentially across parts of the Gulf, depending on which model we're following here. Definitely keeping close watch. So these areas could see, Gulf Coast up to Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic. We could be looking at 4 to as much as 8 inches in some of these areas. Now let's look at the latest European run for this week. You can see there it is, the Ohio Valley, but it is with these mesoscale complexes. Euro is trending southward here, so this keeps northern Ohio out of the heaviest rain. You're still getting on the order of close to 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, which is good, but you could use some more here into northern New England as well. Generalized amounts of 3/4 to 1 1/4 inches. And if we just want to head back here on the Euro, let's see, we can get a little farther out here. European showing this system completely, potential tropical system up the East Coast, or as the GFS bends it further westward here. So we're going to have to keep close watch here. Please stay tuned. Florida all the way up, even the Gulf, but up the East Coast as well. We could be looking at some heavy rain with this. Ohio Valley, parts of southern Pennsylvania where you need the rain. Look at this. We could be getting on the order of 2.5, maybe as much as 4 inches in some of these areas. So picking up where our HRRR model left off, you can see here as we head throughout the rest of the week. Here it is, the tail end of August 1st into August 2nd. We're going to be watching that next system moving through Ohio here, bringing you some beneficial rains as we head into August 2nd, the weekend here, August 3rd. You can see that storm system moving across the Appalachians here and southern Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and hopefully trying to bring New Jersey here in eastern Pennsylvania some beneficial rains. But here it is on the 4th. You can see that surge of moisture tapping into some tropical moisture associated with our tropical wave, disturbance, or potential tropical storm maybe by this point. And as we continue in time here towards August 5th, you can see not much activity out west. We have our next system. It's a weak system up across the Midwest here. Until it starts to strengthen, we'll see some MCS development. And we could be looking at our tropical system forming off the southeast coast here. So that's going to be the big headline next week. Does this head up the East Coast like the Euro indicates, or is the energy going to move towards the Gulf? So here it is on the 7th, storms across upstate New York. That's just going to continue eastward as we head towards August 8th, hopefully getting some beneficial rain here into portions of the Mid-Atlantic and parts of New England. As we continue in time, nothing's really changing here. We still have this surge of tropical moisture up the U.S. East Coast. So let's take a look at our smoke analysis here. A lot of this coming not only from California in the west, but also Canada, southern Canada up here into western Canada. So let's put this into motion. We can see where the vertically integrated dust is showing up, really coming from this major California wildfires out here, northern California, portions of southern California, stretching up this way. But we're also getting some wildfire smoke here heading into central, south central Canada, and eventually eastward here, even making its way into the Ohio Valley as we head into Wednesday. And look at this. We could be seeing here, yeah, smoke heading east here. This is not good news. Let's take a look at surface smoke here. You can see most of it coming from the California wildfire, but we do have some coming, pivoting southeastward here from the western and central Canadian wildfire. So as we head in time here, surface smoke analysis, even some here into eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, New York. It's not going to be terribly thick, but you'll start to notice it here. And as we head towards Thursday, you can see we got some light smoke here, light surface smoke. So watch out with those higher temperatures and humidity increasing. The air quality may continue to decrease here. But our California wildfire continues to reign supreme with all this major dust. But up here, you can see here into Canada, that heading east as well. So for Canada, are we going to fare okay with this dry weather and the wildfire situation? Well, as we head through the 31st here, last day of July, look at this. We got some rain, beneficial rains, even British Columbia out here, some clouds and rain trying to move in. But most of the rain is going to be here in southern Quebec, New Brunswick areas. We head through August 1st here. You can see that frontal boundary moving through. That is some good news. But here's where the dry period starts here. This is not very good. This is August 4th. You can see high pressure building across eastern Canada here. And these are only just minor systems. They're not going to provide with large-scale synoptic soaking rains, which is really what you need. This here, August 5th, this system heads across southern Quebec, Ontario, and New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland here, providing some beneficial rains. Now, out here in the plains, you're going to see this low pressure ramp up. We may see some stronger thunderstorms, but some of these may be dry lightning thunderstorms, which is not good. And unfortunately, you can see most of the moisture with this system heads into the northern part here of the United States towards Wisconsin and the northern UP of Michigan. So there you have it. Southern Ontario, though, by August 6th here, you could be getting in on the act here. So keep close watch. Some of these could be severe. It will provide some beneficial rain here. Like I said, Southeast Canada getting the lion's share of the rainfall here, which I'll go over momentarily. And Nova Scotia, too. Look at this surge of tropical moisture. You may be getting in on the act, maybe extreme southern New Brunswick. Keep close watch. But look at this. This is really, really curious. Will we see the pattern start to break down? This may look like some more precipitation, heavy rain, moderate rain, maybe a soaking rain here in the central and western Canadian provinces. All right, in Canada with the wildfires, you desperately need the rain. We're going to be getting some here into southeast Canada, north central Canada, but it's not enough to put a dent in the drought. So yeah, you get on the order of 40 to 80 millimeters in some of these areas. You know, that's nothing more than 3/4 of an inch to a 1 1/4 in some of these areas. And before we continue, don't go anywhere. I got plenty more weather for you. Take a look at these awesome maps from my affiliate.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
So as we look at our maximum temperatures here, high temps for Tuesday, look at where the heat is. A little cooler around the edges here, although humidity will be increasing. Ohio Valley, Northeast, mid-80s, a popular number. Look at a little bit of cool down out west, but don't get used to this because Wednesday we start to warm things up again. Look at these triple-digit heat from Kansas down to Texas here. This is going to be a scorcher. Even some mid to upper 90s here in parts of the mid-Atlantic. Upper 80s to lower 90s here into the Northeast and Ohio Valley into Thursday. Look at this. We just build the heat. Lots of 90s. Higher humidity heading in as well into Friday. Look at this. Yeah. There's some nice 80s up here. Northern Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois. But look where the heat's coming from the west here. It's propagating east. Look at that. Some mid to upper 90s here into parts of the Carolinas into Saturday. Look at this. Yeah, we start to see some mid 80s here in parts of the Appalachians. So that'll cool you down a little bit. But the heat, if you look across the entire country, the only place you can start to see evidence of some cooling is up here into the low 80s in the Midwest and the Northern Great Lakes. And the next Monday, the August 5th here, right up here. Look at this. This is some nice air across the lakes, but it doesn't take you getting too far south to get back into the 90s. A extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton, Scranton, for Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Here we go. The rest of Tuesday, showers and thunderstorms developing, steamy up near 90 into Wednesday. You know, watch out for some flash flooding in some of these storms, but I know most of you do need the rain. By Thursday, it's our only best, clearest day. It's going to be up near 92, 93 for Friday with a chance of showers and thunderstorms moving back in for late afternoon, early evening into Saturday as well. A better chance of showers and storms. Watch out. Some of these could contain a lot of heavy rain, which some of you actually need. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button, or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video, subscribe if you haven't, smash that like button.